Okay, back to our video on. We've kind of touched on what's happening with Project C50 compressor. I need massive amount of inspiration to move that to the next level, but I'm not giving up yet. I mean, we used to build racing sidecars and build all sorts of drives to fit all sorts of engines and all sorts of chassis. So I suppose this is I suppose that could be considered an easier task than what we used to do. But anyway, current working at the minute, we've got the C50. We've got the Sunbeam, as I think we've touched on, that's kind of ready for being stripped down and assessed. But I'm just going to do this and get this ready for vapor blasting. So I'm going to put it on the tripod. So excuse the wobbly camera a minute. We'll get it on the tripod and let's see if we can. I think we're about set there, are we? Right. Coke today, not tea. Well, Pepsi. Okay, let's have a look what we've got. Now, so what we've been given to look at, looks like we've got all sorts of little cam chain, little kind of deflector pulley if you like, looks like an oil pump pulley that's in there. Oh, little tappet cover, engine oil seals with a tappet cover. I'd say plug cap and plug. First time I've been in here as well, remember, so little oil strainer by the look of that. What's that? A valve. Couple of valves. Oh, genuine Honda. Couple of valves in there. What we got on here is from CMSNL. I always find them quite expensive, certainly nowadays, since what happened at New Year. But anyway, a little condenser. Engine sprocket, drive sprocket. What else we got? What's this? It's like oil pump, new oil pump. Set of points in there. What's that? A gudgeon pin? Yeah. Right. That's that. I'll come back to that, I suppose, in a minute. Just see what else we've got in here. What we're being given. Oh wow, now you know what it is. Do you know what it is yet? No, nobody likes him anymore, do they? No, we'll forget that. Yeah, little ignition points and little Jenny cover. Is that genuine, I wonder? Is that genuine? Possibly is, actually. Oh yeah, it's a genuine. Wow, fantastic. That looks nice. That's not scratched. That's scratched in any way. So that's that little box. Let's put that over there for the minute. So here we are in all its glory. I'm going to get a box together that are literally going to be for vapor blasting, but just a quick check, make sure before we blast it that we don't have any more work to do to it. Somebody in their infinite wisdom decided to paint that red by the look of that. Then decided they didn't like it, like I don't, and go back silver. So we've got a bit of red and silver brake back plate. But anyway, so I've got a tub behind the camera. That could just go. Carburettor, inlet manifold can go. Now is that a copy? Excuse my, yeah, it's a K in, so it's an original. I wonder if we've got a slide in there. Have we got a slide in here? No. Right. This is the one. I think that's an indicator. That makes moving quickly. Ah, look at that. Another red and silver brake back plate with the speedo drive inside it. So I need to. Good grief! I'm trying to turn that speed. There we go. Right, that needs either removing, which I don't want to attempt to do that for vapor blasting. I think we'll make something up that'll block that off and block that off. block that off, and then that can just go for vapor blasting. So yeah, I've got a bit of work to do with that before that can be done for vapor blasting. So these are all the unseen bits of work for vapor blasting. They really are unseen, sort of the prep involved in. You know, I suppose many people just think you just chuck that in a box and off it goes for vapor blasting and it comes back. And it's for the certain bits that I don't really want to strip down. I mean, I reckon trying to get that speedo drive out of there, you're going to create yourself more hassle and heartache and cost and whatever, you know. So if we can block this stuff off, it's like doing the engines, blocking oilways off and putting screws, putting you know, bolts back in threaded holes and stuff, so you don't have to clean the threaded holes out afterwards. You know, it's all kind of prep before the vapor blasting, and it takes time. You know, it really does take time. What we got in here, is this a copy of that? There's the slide I found. I told this chap that I'd got a slide, but I don't know if it was the same diameter now. Look at that. Look at that. Miles different. So no, the slide there won't work with that. So I think it's plan B now. My slide, because I thought I had that. I told him I'd got a slide somewhere anyway. I found it, and it's a different diameter. They use so many different carburetors on these things. It's a different diameter. Anyway, that can just go in there for now. So this must be the new version of that. Yeah, like a pattern version of. And do you know my experience of these is? They work great. Did 3 Honda, what were they, 125s for a chap. He's probably watching this actually, over in the Isle of Man, and a couple of times we had to use pattern part carburetors, and you know, they just bolt on and work. So not a bad sort of. That one's got a slide. That does make it. So we need this off. So we'll take that off shortly, and that can go in straight in for vapor blasting. That doesn't need any prep, that can go. Let's have another look then. In fact, I'm going to put that back in its box. That just goes back until that's probably one of the final things we do. In you go in there. Right, that can go with the gaskets and stuff. So what else we got? We've got a barrel. Somebody's either could do with a bit of homing that actually. 49cc. So it is the little 50. That's not going for any blasting of any sort. I mean, it's in good enough condition that for. Just needs a little bit of work on that bore, I think. We'll check piston to bore size on it. I think, yeah, here we go. I think there's a new piston. Let's just have a feel of that. That's no rings there. I was going to say I'm not sure what I think of that, but I do know what I think of that. I think that's too small. Is that standard? Does it say? Yeah, hang on. I'm using a magnifying glass again. Good grief. ESO S2 £3.60. Good grief, when was that bought? Hey? I think we need to have a chat with the owner about that. So next up, right, cylinder head. Just do a checking valve guide wear on that, but on the face of it I think it's alright. Fins look good just there. I could tell you a story about this engine. Could tell you a story about this. As a hooligan child, well, I wasn't really that hooligan, but as a young lad then, let's put it that way. As a young lad, I used to live near Ranby Prison, Ever heard of it? Maybe not. You could Google it. Down the side of the prison is a road called the Green Mile Lane. And very quickly and very short story, but there's kids, unbeknown to our parents or whatever, who were bombing up and down on under 50s as kids at 14, 15 year old back then in the late 70s, mid 70s. I'm not going to say it was, you know what I'm saying, it was a different world back then. And anyway, every time a car came past, we, on this under 50, it was the winter evenings, like 5, 6 o'clock, you know, at night it was dark. Parents think you're at your mate's house up at the camp part of the Rambley prison, and we were bombing up and down the Green Mile Lane on one of these little Hondas. And every time a car came past, we threw it in the hedge and leant down at the side of it. And only, what, 20 foot away, 20, 30 foot away max is the fence, the prison fence. So we never thought what was going to happen, but those should come past, car lights coming down the road. We threw it in the hedge, laid it down in the grass and laid down with it. Car went past, it was a taxi. We phoned through, told the police, thought there was a breakout going on at Rambley prison, and every Knots police, dog, didn't have helicopters then I don't think, but police, dog, car web descended on us like a flies round you know what, because they thought there was a breakout. They had a full roll call going on in the prison and everything, and it was us bombing up and down on one of these little under 50s. But anyway, a little short story there, that's all. So, needless to say, I got my ass kicked that night. So, I always remember my old man could hear him coming up the stairs. He had a pacemaker fitted and I could hear the tick, 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 and I knew I was in trouble when I heard that. Anyway, yeah, full gasket set. I think we've got everything in there, haven't we? Yeah, looks that way. Perfecto. What else have we got? Ah, the old one. So we'll have a look at this stuff actually. The long bolt that goes through, yeah, we need that. Now that can go straight for vapor blasting. That's the top cover on there. Okay, nothing to kind of plug or block off on that in the vapor blasting tub. Likewise for the little circular. Let's try and get a new one of them. The little circular that goes over there, which is cam chain and sprocket behind there when it's built. That sort of old stuff in there. We're going to need a couple of bits of that. An old piece. Look at the rings. Gummed up. Absolutely stuck to the piston in there. Wow, the abuse we used to give to these little Honda engines. And I think everybody did, didn't they, when we were kids? Yeah, vapor blasting for that. I think that is pretty much ready for vapor blasting as well. So that can go in the tub. Right, which leads us to, oh no, hang on, a bit more, what have we got in here then? So we've got another one of them. Oh no, that's the side one, the other side. It does have kind of oil ways in it, but easily to clean, but a little toothbrush on there afterwards and that'll be fine, so a bit more gasket, that'll come off. There we go, something else, that's going straight in the vapor blasting tub. Go and see my mate. Right, studs. Why have we got markers marked up on here? The long studs. Yeah, in the engine, the oil, the stud, the stud hole. Here she is. What's that? Rings, which I don't know if they're going to be alright for this job, but anyway, so we've got some C50 Japanese Imperial Standard, I think they call it, isn't it? JIS. Bolts, they can stay in there. What's this in here? The clutch lifter. Yeah, there's a clutch lifter inside there, engine internal, that can stay there for a minute, that can go back in there for a minute. Which leads us to this beast. God knows how long this has been stood. Yeah, like I was saying, the little motor uses, there's a little tiny little hole, I think you can see it there. Oil pressure, there's a degree of oil pressure from that little oil pump, comes out that hole, moves across to the stud, and when the stud essentially is the cylinders on the stud, that one that I ain't got, let's just use that for the purposes of, don't know what's under that tape, but anyway. So if we just put the stud in for the minute, and now if we look here, that's the corresponding, where the oil pressure comes out of there into there, moves across to the stud and then goes up, uses the stud hole as an oil weight. That's the way of getting oil to the cam. So it now comes up here and again into the head, moves across and feeds the camshaft, and then the big hole here is the oil drain back. It just drains back. So a bigger hole to actually let it drain back down into the engine again. So that's what this kind of step here is for. So anyway, I don't know how long this has been this way, but you can get some real fantastic anything. We do anything, you know, whether it's a 50 or 1100, whatever. You know, we look at it and yeah, there's a design fault. That's probably what this is probably one of the engines we had as kids. Somebody's drilled kickstart shaft, drilled a hole in it, and because all the teeth have gone on kickstart shaft. But having said that, no, I don't think we ever got that rough. But yeah, there we go. Right, we're going to sign off on this one. We'll strip it down a little bit more, assess what we've got, and pick it up on the next one.